This is Optimized Tube.
Just yesterday, I posted a video about Mica Miller's call to 911 and was it made using AI? And after a discussion I had in the comments, I wanted to quickly just throw another one up there just to cover a few things real quick, because there's a lot of information out there all over the internet and there's a lot of speculation going on. You know, it can be difficult to sift through all that. I went straight to the source. I wanted to see what evidence did the authorities actually have, and I reviewed that original evidence for myself with God in my heart, and also personally being a victim of domestic violence. I'm just going to kind of read from my comment section. Somebody said, if you look at Mica's Ring camera when she comes back from getting food, she looks down. She swallows pretty hard, as if she's been shocked. Did somebody leave something at the front door? I said, I watched it over and over, and I know exactly what you're referring to. Honestly, it's hard to say. But as I watched the Ring footage, and as I listened to the 911 call, I believe she did take her own life. But we as humans, we have a tendency to filter things through our own personal experiences and expectations. At first, I was heated. I was super angry. I knew the husband had something to do with this. I knew he did this to her. And honestly, I still believe that he did do this to her, just not in the way that we're thinking. When she walks back to her door, maybe you guys are right. Maybe there was something there. But here's another perspective. Maybe she's just so distracted and up in her head that she's honestly kind of discombobulated. I mean, clearly she drove to wherever she went, because when she left the apartment the first time, she's holding a clear plastic baggie with a sandwich in it. Okay, that same sandwich in the bag was found in her car next to the gun case. Yet when she returned to her apartment, you know, she had her keys in her purse. Okay, so when she got to the front door, you know, there was this moment of like, her hands are full. And she kind of has this little moment where she finally decides she's going to set something down on the ground so she can have a free hand to pull her keys out of her bag. This same commenter said, I noticed that she set something down, and he's still on the fence 50-50 of whether she did kill herself. And he's very skeptical about a bunch of other things. You know, he thought to himself, maybe there's something she did that she just couldn't live with. Yes, and allegedly there is a lot of word about the FBI investigating the church and JP over financial issues. There is definitely a lot of information to take in. One of the biggest factors that changed my thinking from she was murdered over to she did this to herself was when she's leaving the house, all dressed in black. Okay, the way she arranged her hair, it's very practical and there's nothing attractive about it. Compare that to the cute ponytail that she had just moments before. But more than that was the audio that she had playing on her phone. Something about necessary endings. She's playing that as a message. She holds her phone up to the Ring camera and looks right at the camera. These factors, along with her voice in that call, the emotion. She made that call for a reason. She did not want her family to suffer, not knowing where she was or what happened to her. Basically, this whole thing was pretty well thought out. Then we also must consider how spiritual she was. No one can speak on anyone else's personal relationship with the living God. It is one-on-one. He is not what he seems, and All things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. This same commenter had made another comment saying that AI is way more powerful and intelligent and intuitive than you're making it out to be, just saying. And I was like, okay, you're right. I do not disagree with you at all. But do you truly believe that this call was made using AI? If so, please explain. Was it pre-recorded? How could anyone know ahead of time what the woman who answered the call would ask? All these questions, or in what order she would ask these questions. These things are impossible to anticipate. The call was very natural. I suggest, if you haven't already, go listen to the call for yourself. Also, I said, was the AI on the call live? But even if you did have some software hearing the operator and then responding, there's no delay. And the bottom line is, right now at this point, as far as I know, and please, if anybody knows differently, leave a comment down there and correct me. As far as I know, there's going to be a delay. The software has to, stop listening and then, process that information, come up with a response, and then boom, deliver the response. There's that delay. I don't believe that we've gotten past that, and I don't think that the general public has access to that kind of technology as of today. But I could be wrong. Please prove me wrong. So he responded back. He says he doesn't believe that the call was made with AI, despite all his comments. He was just merely pointing out that AI is way more than we want to think. He says that he believes that she was coerced into calling. This is his theory. If you go and look at her Ring camera, when she gets back after getting food, she looks down at the front door and something shocks her. She swallows pretty hard and then looks nervous or surprised or concerned. She goes in, she gets dressed for work, and then on the way, she ends up getting a gun at a pawn shop. He goes on to say, at the pawn shop, she keeps looking behind her towards the door. Something feels totally off here. Maybe someone said they had info on JP, and she was to meet them. Could it have been a trap to then take her to the park? 911 call? When she's asked where she is, supposedly there's a quiet voice in the background that says Fair Bluff. Now, this is the first time I've heard anybody say it says Fair Bluff. Everybody else was saying it says Mica's folder, or there's a lot of speculation. This is what I had gathered after getting the information from the source. This is the evidence that the authorities are going off of. She was alone at her apartment. She was alone at the pawn shop. She was alone at the gas station. And the only activity on her phone was while at the gas station, she Googled State Park. Then she drove to her final destination. She was alone in her car when she made the call. Then after that, not a lot of time passed before 2 more calls came into 911. The first one was from a fisherman who said that he heard a woman crying, and then he heard a single gunshot and the crying stopped. And then not too much time passed, and another call came into 911 from a kayaker who had found a woman's body. And now, another thing to note about this amazing woman is her strength, okay? Because it took a lot of balls to do what she did. And it turns out that she's the type of person who enjoyed doing things like skydiving. This individual was brave and determined. She was not a coward, okay? So, you see, I'm just saying, these are the different factors that helped settle my heart. We all want to talk about how developed, AI is in regards to these voice technologies and all these AI image generators and these large language models. Okay, but you guys, another thing to consider is, don't you think that the police and the FBI have far greater, access to the more advanced kind of stuff than any of us regular civilians would? A good friend of mine's dad, he had been letting his friend stay with him, and while he was at work, the man had a heart attack and died right there in his apartment. So when he came home from work, he found this man dead in his apartment, and he called the authorities. And basically what he said was that they came in, one of the first things they did was grab his phone. They didn't spend much time with the phone. He said, doop, 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 doop. And yep, natural causes, boom, settled like that. Okay, they didn't have to do any crazy. They know how to get past our lock screens. All right, and if you think that you can trust Google with all your information, I'll tell you what, I would think again. Okay, just saying. Google is like, when I think of Google, I think of Lord of the Rings. You know that big eyeball above the mountain in the sky? Okay, the all-knowing, the all-watching eye. And just put a giant ear on there too. All right, well shit, we might as well give it a mouth, because I'm telling you that Google is always watching and always listening on every single one of these devices. We have by default given our permission, okay? So, I mean, come on. To be so ignorant as to think that when it comes to a murder case, a potential murder case, that the authorities are going to hesitate for even a moment to, boom, utilize that. Of course they're going to. All right. And I'm not talking about some ridiculous story like, oh, okay, Siri, what happened here? Oh, no, so-and-so murdered so-and-so. Yeah, no, I've heard that story, but I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about they have access to the data, okay? The politicians, the government, they have access to the data. That's how they're able to manipulate us so well and understand us so well. But anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. All right, well, I hope this settled some questions and help settle some things for some people. This is just my take on the situation, but based, like I said, I did go to the source and get the facts and review them myself, and maybe this will also be good for some more feisty conversations back and forth in the comments. I'm actually looking forward to that. So if you're still listening, or aka watching, whatever, thanks. And like and subscribe. Okay. Wow, my first voiceover. Woohoo!